So what are the reasons? Why do we, I think I made a video about this, but maybe I'll get more into detail about it. Why do we, well, the more we recover, why is it that things get worse? And when we do an exposure, for example, why do we take 5 steps back? So when you're, doing the work, right? And let's say you start turning off alarms, but your baseline is still at 1,000 and your bucket's still full. You'll notice that alarms will move around because, these alarms go, right? But the brain will be like, no, we got to replace those alarms. So you'll start to notice that, one symptom goes and another one is replaced. So it's always got to replace because it has to get your attention to perceive danger. So it's thinking, okay, I got to get his attention. I'm running a survival state because of all the bullshit we've been through in our lives. For example, you were in a toxic relationship, or you were dating a narcissist, or for too long and you were stuck in that relationship. You're in a survival state through the whole process, and the brain, it hardwires it there. There's your baseline. It's at 1,000. You had a toxic work environment. You hated your boss. Your coworkers are backstabbers. You work in a union environment. You were on medications. You had surgeries. You took antibiotics throughout your life 5 times. You had, a lot of flus, pneumonias, colds. Somebody died in your family that was, traumatic. Anything that affects you mentally or physically, your body, it starts to fill up your bucket, right? It starts to slowly fill up your bucket. And when it gets full, it gets, your body's overwhelmed, right? It can't handle all this homework that you're piling on its desk. It's like, fuck, I got all this homework to do and I can't do what I'm supposed to do, but I'm supposed to catch up. Like, how am I supposed to catch up if you're not emptying this bucket? I'm overwhelmed. It's like your body's and brain is buffering. You know how you have slow internet, or your phone is just got too much shit on it and it's working really slowly. It's sluggish, right? All the systems in your body aren't working in unison. They're just working enough to keep you alive, right? And what we want to do is we want to empty that bucket and bring the baseline down and turn off alarms. And when you do that, your body and brain work with ease, right? It's so simple. Everything's just like, oh, you got a cold? All right, bring it over here. You'll probably only feel 2% of it, and it'll be gone in and out within a day. Anybody else who's got a bucket up to here and a baseline to 1,000 and they got alarms everywhere, it might take them 3 weeks or 3 months to process a cold or any sort of infection, or you name it. It takes longer, right? Because it's bunged up and it's got all these loads. You're pulling a 747, right? This big, massive plane, and then you're asked to do all these other things like heal, digest, detox, and you're like, okay, I'll get to it, but it's going to be slow because do you not see this massive plane behind me, right? And do you not see this bear resting on my shoulders that's trying to fucking eat me? Because I'm in a survival state. My brain's perceiving danger because it sees this bear on my back. And yeah, I'll heal that scab. Yeah, I'll fucking, we'll work on that burrito. But don't forget, you also had beans in it. You decided to get extra spicy stuff on there, so that's fun. So bear with me. Man, I'm doing everything I can. I only got 18 hands here. And you're expecting the world from me here. And I'm producing it. Here, hold on. Fuck, relax. So, okay, we established throughout life, you've been through events, right? Somebody passed away. You lost a friend. You've had your heart broken many times. You were on medication, had surgeries, bad work environment. You name it. There's so many things, right? You were an alcoholic. You smoked cigarettes, right? That takes a toll on your body and your mind, right? It's like totally, like if you're smoking cigarettes, it's bombing your nervous system constantly. If you're drinking all the time, it puts major loads on your body and your mind, right? So consider that, right? Think about that. That's how we got here, right? And then we got emotions that we're not dealing with. We're not trying to feel our emotions. We distract from them, right? So what do? We numb our thoughts with alcohol, or we just push them down, right? So what you resist persists, right? So that adds to the bucket being like crazy full, which reminds me I probably got another bottle. Okay, Dolly, relax. So in time, something's got to give. Your bucket's overflowing, right? So when that happens, the body, the brain, sends alarms to perceive danger because you've been running a survival state. You've been in fight or flight for so long. In fight or flight, what happens is when you're in fight or flight, the brain's like, okay, we see a bear behind us. Initially, what you have to do is you gotta either fight or flee, right? So you gotta make the decision. It's an urgent decision. You gotta make it now, because if you don't, you'll either be dead or you'll be dead. So its main job is to keep you alive, right? And it doesn't care if you suffer. Its main job is to keep you alive. So it throws on alarms, asks questions later. It doesn't care if you suffer because its main job is to keep you alive. And you're alive. Great. So you're understanding your bucket's full, right? It's overflowing. The brain is buffering. It's sluggish. It's not working with ease. So you start to manifest symptoms, right? And the brain's perceiving danger, right? Because it's been around danger for so long, right? And the baseline's at 1,000. So it's hardwired, this survival state of the brain created neural pathways. And these neural pathways become the new program, right? And the old pathways, they die off, has new pathways. The brain uses that as its main highway, new programming, and it locks it in, right? Takes the key, throws it out. This is our new program. Normally, you're supposed to be at 0, right? When you see a bear, state of fight or flight, you kill the bear, right? Danger is gone, come back to 0. But when you're in a survival state because of life events, you've been in a toxic relationship for 4 years, you're constantly in this state, the brain keeps it there. It's stuck there now. This is your new baseline. And it's not really that it's stuck there, it's just your new baseline, right? With the information that the brain gathered through all these years with, the feelings, anger, bucket getting full, it's responding to a stress response from its environment and how you're feeling and how you're reacting to things. Put it there. Over time, and if you were to change your environment and be happy again, and we're out of that relationship within a couple of days, it'd go back down. And you'd be okay. You'd recover, right? This is where the recovery comes in. You recover, right? But then, when we're there for so long, it stays there. Even if you're out of that relationship, after 5 years, you're out of the relationship, or the toxic work environment, or the fill in the blanks, right? You're out of it, but don't forget, all these things come together collectively and put a load on you. They haven't been released, right? You haven't let them go. You're still pulling that 747. Even though you're going to, Easy Street, you're hanging out in Easy Street, you're still pulling shit. Your brain's still sending alarms. Your baseline's still at 1,000. You're like, how am I still in a survival state, freaking out? Why is the brain seeing all these bears that are not there? I don't see any bears. I don't see any bears. So why are you freaking out, brain? Because the brain's like, because we've been through so much shit for fucking 35 years, and all of a sudden you're good, you're in a good environment, and you think I'm just going to turn this off? No, you need to tell me that we're safe by how you act, and to have patience and time, and communicate in a proper way to recalibrate. So how are you going to do that, right? This is what the 7 keys of recovery are. Link on the bottom. Start the work today. Start bringing your baseline down. Empty that bucket, right? This is me now. This was me 3 years ago. Actually, it was overflowing. And my baseline was at 1,000. Now it's probably, if you're at 0, it's probably at like 5, right? And it goes up and down. It goes 0, 5, -5, 0, 5, right? It's always in this area. And there's a threshold where symptoms start to manifest. When you're at like 50, all of a sudden symptoms start to pop up. And then when you're at 100 full, that's when you have 70 symptoms. Like me, I had the 70 symptoms pop up. So this all makes sense, right? So people ask, well, why is it then, if I'm doing this work, do I get more symptoms? And why do they get more nasty? Because the brain has been using these symptoms to get your attention, right? So it's got all these symptoms, it's getting your attention, and you're starting to, and it knows the state, right? Because you're alive. At the end of the day, you're alive right now. The brain knows that. It's done its job, right? Even though this sucks, you're in a survival state, it's still doing its job. It's working perfectly. It's doing the best that it can in the conditions that it is at. So it's not doing anything wrong. It's not going haywire. There's no impairment. It's doing its job brilliantly, considering the conditions that it's in the environment. It's keeping you alive. So it sends all these alarms, right? And when you start to do the work, it perceives that as a danger because it's change. Anything to do with change, it doesn't like, because it knows where it's at. Okay, we're alive here. Oh, you want to change something? I don't like that. We're as sensitive as it is. It's already bad as it is, but we're alive, and you want to start changing shit around? I can't take that. I can't take that chance, right? Just like it throws on all sensitivity alarms, right? It throws all these alarms on and asks questions later. Nothing's coming in, everything's going out, right? It'd rather make a bad call and keep you alive than make a good call and you're dead. It doesn't want to take any chances because this is your life we're talking about, right? So, okay, you start doing the work. It's like, what's this? What's going on here? He's doing the work. She's doing the work. I don't like this work thing here. It's trying to feel better. No. I don't like this change. I'm going to have a tantrum. We're putting on alarms. Put more alarms on just to be safe, right? So it does not like change because it perceives it as danger. So that's the one thing. Every time you make more change, it'll shake it up. It doesn't like it. Another thing, don't forget, when it's been in the state of fight or flight all the time, you're using a lot of stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine. I think I said that right. Which the acronym is c.a.n. C.a.n cocktail, right? It becomes addicted to this because it's been there for so long, right? And it's used to that. It's like a drug addict. You take away the meth, right? It's going to have a tantrum. It's going to panic. It's going to have a breakdown. It's going to lose its mind. It becomes addicted to it. So you're going to go through a stage of withdrawal, right? A transition out of that because it's not getting its supply anymore. So it's going to look for supply. So what does it do? It throws on alarms, random alarms, so that you go, stress hormones go up. It goes, So it's addicted to the stress hormones because it's been running off this for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And all of a sudden you're saying, even if it's better for it, it doesn't know that because it's change. It's been running on this for so long. You take it away and you're like, here, feed off this. It doesn't like that because it's addicted, literally addicted to the stress hormones, the anger, the fear, right? The ruminating, all that. That's the program it's addicted to. And it's feeding off the stress hormones. So when you start to change that, it gets scared because before it's sitting on a supply of stress hormones. It's like, yeah, we're good. We got a bunch of barrels of stress hormones. We're good. And it lays off you a little bit. It's like, oh, he's looping on this symptom, right? We got enough alarms out there, right? We're telling him that, it's a strong enough alarm that keeps him engaged in danger. So he knows about this danger because he's looping on this gut issue. So that's good enough. I'm warning him enough. He's engaged in the alarm. And also he's giving me this cortisol, adrenaline, and norepinephrine. I keep saying that wrong. So I'm getting all the c.a.n chemistry, and he's getting the alarms. So just think, it's sitting on this big supply, and then you start doing the work, and it's like, oh, what's going on? And then the barrels of supply of the c.a.n chemistry start to leave. First, it starts moving them around, right? 1-2 barrels leave. So you're like, oh, this is bullshit. No, what are you doing? So then you replace it with 2 more barrels. No. What are you doing? We need those. You need to know about these alarms. I'm sending you alarms. You need to know about this danger because you haven't really budged the baseline in your bucket yet, right? It's still there. You're moving. You're doing some things, but it's still there. So it has to replace those barrels. It's like, fuck, we got to get some more supply. Get some more supply. We need to throw more alarms. We're running out of alarms. He starts turning off these alarms. No. We got to replace those alarms with new alarms. So that's new symptoms, right? New physical symptoms, new mental symptoms, right? And when you start healing and it's, starting to notice that all the supply is starting to go down, it starts to send more alarms, physical, but you're like, Nah, that's not going to work, buddy. I'm indifferent. I'm turning those alarms off. Sorry. So what is it going to do? It has to get your attention by having you pay attention to alarms. Because all the physical symptoms, you're starting to heal now. So it gets desperate. Plus, it needs supply because it's addicted to the c.a.n chemistry. So it got to get crafty. It's like, okay, I need c.a.n chemistry because I'm addicted. This shit's real, man. I'm starting to wig out, man. This is fucking crazy. And I got to keep him alive. And he's not listening to my alarms. He's fucking turning them off. I got less alarms now. I got probably a quarter of the alarms that I had before. Before I had a whole warehouse of alarms, and now I got a quarter of them. I got like 50 alarms left, and he's fucking turning them all off. And what am I going to do? And that's what the brain does. It pulls back harder. It has tantrums, right? It's like, no, this is safe. I need supply. Eventually, it gets over the whole c.a.n chemistry thing, and it starts to shift to the new supply of just not needing the c.a.n chemistry, and it adjusts. There's a transitional period, it doesn't have withdrawal anymore, and you're good in that department. But it's still needing to get your attention to the perceived danger. It might not be as strong, right? It might be like, all right, fine, we got 50 alarms, but we still got to send them because the baseline is starting to come down. Instead of 1,000, that's at 600, right? Your bucket's starting to empty, right? Like, it goes from here to there, and then it goes to there, right? But it's still going to send some alarms. Because don't forget, you have a threshold where alarms start to come. And just because you're at this threshold doesn't mean that your bucket's not halfway full and that your limbic baseline isn't at half. That's still in the baseball field of survival. That's still in the fight or flight area, right? We would rather, instead of recover to where you were before your shitstorm happened, why don't we fully restore so that you can handle what life throws at you? If you only go to here and life throws shit at you, which it always will, you're going to be back up here in no time. So you're finally, halfway there, right? This is getting close to, you're doing the work, you're getting halfway there. Alarms start turning off. The brain's still perceiving danger somewhat. So what is it going to do? It's still going to send you alarms, but not as much as in the beginning. So you might get a new symptom pop up here and there. It's not 50 at the same time. Now it's like, 2 or 3 within a month that are new, or an old one comes back. So you're going to see that. Alarms, a lot of alarms, some go and some come back and they get replaced, right? So it's like a whack-a-mole game. This goes and then this comes. And you're like, turn that one off. Oh, this one. Oh, turn that one off. Oh, now that one. Turn this one off. Oh, we got this one. Turn that one. Oh, off. And eventually it's like, I don't really care. So there's less, right? I don't really care. I'm good. I'm indifferent. Ask for more. So eventually the alarms are less and less. You ask for more, you become indifferent, right? The alarms aren't, you acknowledge the alarms, right? So the brain starts to turn off the alarms, right? You have less alarms and you're not fighting with your alarms. Because when you fight with your alarms and you loop, right? And you resist them, because what you resist persists, you keep filling that bucket up. The inner battle of resistance fills the bucket up, the baseline stays. And this is where my program is different, because we teach you to not have that inner battle, to allow the alarms to run wild, to ask for more, right? To train yourself to be indifferent by using exposure so that we can empty these. Because if you're constantly fighting with yourself and the fear, this goes up. Baseline stays up. When that happens, alarms keep coming. So alarms will just keep replacing themselves like a whack-a-mole game, right? But eventually when you do the methods right and you allow things to go, you allow the bucket to empty, you allow things to do their thing, acknowledge, okay, you did your job, you're out. You did your job, okay, thank you. And you let go of that balloon, right? You're releasing the loads. You're releasing the loads. And then the bucket starts to come down and empty, and the baseline starts to come down, right? But on the process of it, it's still going to send you alarms. But know that even though the alarms are less and less and less, you're going to have more potent alarms, because it still needs to double check and make sure, are you sure you want to turn this alarm off? Okay, we'll turn it off. But you know what? In a month, it's going to come back. It's going to surprise you, and it's going to be more intense. So you're going to notice that the less alarms that you have are more intense, and they have more of a punch, and they're fucking relentless, and they could last longer. So people are like, yes, I know that you said it's going to get worse. Well, that's the reason. The brain still needs to get your attention. It's got to double check to make sure that you want this alarm to be turned off, because at the end of the day, its main goal is to keep you alive. And if it's running a program that keeps you there, that's alive, then it's going to use as its default. Then that becomes a default program, because at the end of the day, being alive is the only thing that matters. Suffering does not matter. So you're going to go through the shitstorm constantly. You have to sit through the fear. You have to sit through the transition, right? You have to open that door and feel the stuff when you make changes, right? It's constantly back and forth, back and forth. Oh, oh, oh. And then this also slows down, right? You're adjusting to the waves, to the crazy waves in the bucket, right? They're going crazy. So you gotta be still so that it can also calm. Because if it's going crazy, you're going, oh fuck, then it moves the bucket around and keeps going crazy. Right? But you wanna stay still, sit into the fear, and let it do its thing. And when you do that, you have a solid bucket that's not moving around because you're not freaking out. Then the water in the bucket, right, eventually has time to calm down. So it is a shitstorm, because they still have a job to make sure that, are you sure you want this alarm off? Because you could die if we keep this off. Are you sure? And then with your response, the correct responses that you learn from this 7 keys of recovery, right? All the correct responses that you learn, will teach it with a communication loop, with repetition, that yes, you are safe, and it turns off the alarms, right? You gain leverage, right? You start to move up forward. And when you do exposure, you create a stress response to the brain, right? So you're going into unfamiliar territories, or you're going towards the fear, or you're going towards the fear of the symptoms, thoughts, feelings, right? What if thoughts, mental symptoms, physical symptoms, right? When you go towards them, it stresses out the body, right? So that's why you take 5 steps back. Like, you go, okay, we're doing this, right? So pretend this is the trigger. 5 steps back. Oh, fuck. Right? And you go towards it again. Oh. But then, your fear towards this, it doesn't become a monster anymore. It goes like this, right? And you do it again, the exposure, right? You go back, and then this goes flat. You're indifferent to it, and then you just walk over it. And then you move forward by leaps and bounds. So you have to feel like shit to gain the leverage to move forward. So it's like, move forward, move forward, oh. Move forward, oh. And then sometimes it's, oh. But then it's like, oh. And then it's like, oh. And you're like, what the fuck? I'm starting over, no. Right? And this, I had this steady pace going where I'd have ups and downs, setbacks, right? You have the setbacks on an ongoing basis, right? And it became to a point where you could call it out like clockwork, right? You're like, oh, I see what's happening. So this is where you experience what you're going through, right? And sometimes I tell people, sometimes you just gotta deal with it and experience it. So with everything that you learn in this program, you still have to experience your symptoms over and over and over again. This is the exposure of the symptoms. Because when you know, in the beginning, you're going to be like, oh my God, what's going on? Looping thoughts. You have to experience that so you know what that's all about. And you have to experience the fear of that symptom, right? Because I can tell you what to do all kinds of ways, but it's going to go through one ear out the other because you're experiencing something new that's putting your limbic system into a survival state. So when I say experience exactly that 10 times more, okay, experience that. Deal with it. Just deal with it. Yeah, but I'm feeling this new thing, and it's my face is blah blah blah. Okay, deal with it. Experience it 10 times. Deal with it. What? Yes, it's just something that you have to go through. It's just something you have to go through. So allow it to be there. Yeah, but it's still intense. Okay, now you have to experience it. So the first day is like, oh my god, my face. Ah. Second day, oh my god, my face. Ah. Third day, my face. Yeah. Fourth day, oh, my face, it's still there. Oh, fuck. Fifth day, my face. And then sixth day, right? It's gone. What the hell? It's gone. Oh, I got another symptom. Experience that one. Experience that one again. Experience that one. Oh, this one's back. Oh, it's back though. Oh, this one. Oh, you again. Yeah, I know you're gonna go. That's fine. Yeah. Oh, you. You. Hey, buddy. I'm actually, because you're here, I'm actually getting reassurance that you're here. Because I know you're gonna go. So that makes me feel good. So please stay. So this is when you really use the methods. Because you're in a more comfortable discomfort phase. You've been through it enough to know that you're familiar with it and you're confident more because you've been through it so many times. Repetition, it's kind of like, yeah. And then you actually feel confident and reassured that it's there. You're actually happy that it's there because you're like, oh, so today I'll be dealing with you? I've dealt with you 10 times already. And you always go. That's great. No problem. Hang out. Oh, you. Stay here. Please, I don't want to deal with this new thing because then I'm going to be going, with that. So you're like, right? But things are starting to calm down a little bit more. Instead of being 1,000, now it's at 700. So over here is like, here it's like, right? So you got some leverage there. So you're using the methods of, now I can allow you to be there. Now I can ask for more. Right? In the beginning, it was too much. You're not listening to the methods. You're like, what methods? What's going on? Right? So that's why in the beginning, especially with flash fear, you just have to experience it over and over and over again until it becomes, like the chairs in your room, like the painting in your room, like the bottle of water in your room. It becomes a friend that you're used to. Like, let's say you have a friend that stinks all the time. Well, if he's around you, or a cat that stinks all the time, if they're around you for, 5 months, let's say, they're a roommate, you're going to get used to the stink eventually. And you might even like it, right? So it's just something that you have to go through and experience with repetition so that the fear comes down from 1,000 to maybe a 5, right? And it's more manageable, right? And you get more comfortable with the discomfort. It becomes reassurance, right? So it sits with you for a long time, right? It hangs out a long time. It goes, it comes back, but you're okay with it. And this allows, when you're at this stage, this allows for more progress, more emptying. The baseline eventually goes down even more. And then the brain goes, okay, we'll turn off more alarms, but I'm going to send some more strong ones. I'm going to get a little relentless because I got to make sure he's sure he wants to turn off the alarms. I got to make sure that he's alive, and I'm not addicted to the c.a.n chemistry anymore. So that's over with. Thank you. So it is a process. It is a journey, right? And you're going to have your setbacks. Setbacks are normal. That's how you gain leverage. You got to feel like shit. That's the only way to move forward, right? So it keeps throwing things at you so that you can recalibrate them, right? So you get thrown things. Okay, ding, 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 ding. What next? Oh, that ding, 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 ding. And everything that you get thrown at is like, so it throws it at you over and over again until you're like, okay, just put it over here. Okay, you again, put it over here. Blah, 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 blah. So that's the reason why during this journey, why things get worse. Because healing was never meant to give you relief. Not during the journey, right? Here's a shit show. Here's recovery. Relief is over here. And then move that timeline. And then you're really happy over here. then you're spiritually creating a reality, and then you become superhuman, and you become a master, ascended master. You become, supernatural. Let's rewind that back. So this is your journey, beginning of your journey. This is the first stage. This is the first stage of your journey, recovery. In between that, don't think you're getting much relief. Sure, if you really put a microscope, this compared to this is a huge difference. Of course, yes, it is. There's a huge difference, right? You're not constantly underwater going second by second, right? You're not going, how am I going to survive the next second? The next second comes, okay, I survived that. How am I going to survive the next second? The next second comes, how am I going to survive the next 2 seconds? The next 2 seconds come, right? That's how it is in the first part of the journey. You're constantly surviving underwater, trying to get that breath every second. You don't know how you're going to survive in the next 30 seconds? Yeah, okay. Let's talk about the next 3 seconds, right? But when you're over here, right, you're like, okay, blah, 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 blah. Oh, here, blah, blah, blah. You still get symptoms, right? Recovery means you're able to live life fully without symptoms affecting you and changing the way you enjoy life. But you'll still have symptoms, right? Symptoms don't go fully until around, this stage. And it all also depends on how long it takes you to get it, to implement it properly, to understand the methods fully, and how persistent you are every day. And the only way to understand something fully is to be persistent every day, because the golden nuggets of clarity come along the journey, right? You got these little golden eggs, right? That you go, oh, ah, aha, holy fucking shit, right? Along the way. And you can only get that when you're persistent. Persist. Keep on that route constantly. Be disciplined. That's how you get the knowledge and clarity. And that's how you gain leverage and you move through. So yeah, even after recovery, you go back into the swing of things, and you're going to have some symptoms linger here and there, right? And then you're fully restored. But then, life will still throw you things where you might have a little uptick. You're like, oh, that's hilarious. I've been through that. And this is a good thing, because this reminds you of all the methods that you learned through your life. Because when you stop practicing, and you're asked to ride a bike in 20 years from now, because life will throw you curveballs, you're going to be a little bit shaky on the bike. You're going to be a little bit, oh, fuck, man. I'm fucking ding, 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 ding. Get the fuck out of the way, right? It's good to have a little bit of an uptick throughout your life to maintain, to keep this process going, right? To get a little bit of a, oh, okay. Keep you on your toes a little bit. Have a couple of symptoms pop up because life threw you something, right? You're like, oh yeah, I see. I got a couple of drops. Look at this. Christmas was fucking a little extra this year. Okay, right? Life is life. But guess what? Right? Perfect. Oh, you lost your job. Fuck. All right. And you don't have any way to pay your mortgage. Okay. Yeah. So. Okay. It's well, hey, we got the tools. It's gonna take a little time. I gotta work on this one a little bit. But hey, we're able to handle it. I'm not getting sick here. I don't have crazy symptoms. I'm able to move through this shit because I learned this shit, right? So it's good to have little bites here and there through life, because it keeps you keeping the tools fresh in your mind, and you remember that journey, right? It's still there, right? And you're confident. So yes, remember, during recovery, generally, this isn't a vacation, right? And here, I'll draw what recovery is like. And I'm sure everybody's seen this. I'm going to show you again. Right? So, here's the beginning. Here's the end. Right? And it's like this. Right? So it's like, oh, fuck. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Holy, what the fuck, doubt. I'm never gonna recover. Oh, my life, hell. Oh, I see what happened there. I get clarity, golden nuggets. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm on the top of the world. Oh, fuck. Oh my god. Okay, I see. I'm confident. I understand what's going on. You know what? Let's do it. Blah, blah. I'm recovered. I'm different. I love life. I'm creating my reality, right? That's what it's like. It's not. I'm doing the journey now. It should be getting better. Oh my god, I'm so happy all the time. I'm creating my reality. Life is so easy. Forever and ever. Amen. I love life. Oh my god, butterflies. Pelicans. No, not like that. It's oh, relief. Oh my god. Oh, freedom. I'm creating my reality. This is okay. I understand. Golden nuggets, clarity, spirituality. Oh my god, I'm growing. I'm superhuman. I'm supernatural. But yeah. So no, the more resistance you get, the more symptoms you get. And when shit hits the fan all the time, you're doing the work. You're doing it right. Keep going. This is a good sign. Because if you weren't, because you would just be fixated on the same old alarms, chemistry of the brain, be like, I'm just chilling on these buckets of, supply of c.a.n chemistry, and yeah, I'm sending him all the alarms that he needs. I'm doing just enough to keep him alive, and we're good. We're not happy. Nah, we're not happy. We're not living a good life, but hey, that's not why I'm here. I don't care about that shit. He's alive, right? And you're just coping by, floating by through life, dealing with these alarms, being, it's a loop. Okay, I'll live tomorrow. Okay, Wednesday. Thursday, right? Nothing really changes, right? You're not getting an influx of major more alarms. You're just dealing with the same old alarms. Right? And then life happens, and all of a sudden, your baseline goes higher, right? And now all of a sudden your loads are getting more. Then it's like, hell! Now it's your cycle is more. Hell! Oh! Monday. Oh! Right? So you already got a full thing, and throughout the years it starts piling more. Then you got 40 symptoms, 50 symptoms, 60 symptoms, 70 symptoms. Right? So that's how it works. You start emptying things, you're not going to feel relief right away. It's going to be a shitstorm either way. But if you're going to be feeling a shitstorm, wouldn't you rather feel a shitstorm and go towards recovery so that in 1 or 2 years, in my case 3 years, you're going to be free, right? You're going to be free, thriving, happy, and that will last for the rest of your life. So, a couple of years of pain equals to many years of freedom. I think it's worth it. I think it's the way to go. Don't you? Another thing to keep in mind while you're going through this journey, that will bring an uptick of symptoms, new symptoms, old symptoms. And I almost forgot about this. I just remembered. Is if you have, something that happens that week that was stressful, a life event, somebody is going through something and it's triggering you, or something triggered you that week. Be aware of that, and it explains why. 9 times out of 10 explains why you have an uptick of symptoms. It's also, not only is it because of the c.a.n chemistry or the brain's got to find a way to get your attention and throwing more alarms on, and not only is it because you're going through this journey of recovery and it's a shit show, it will also be because of something during that week or that day that happened that caused a stress response, right? And you'll get an uptick of symptoms and feelings and thoughts, and you'll notice that you'll be like, oh. So remember, something like blowing a tire on the side of the highway could spark a stress response, and it could set you off for the week where you can get an increase of symptoms, right? So you blew a tire on the side of the road, You're freaking out because you're like, damn, that puts it fucks my day up, because now I gotta get somebody to put my new tire on, and I'm on the side of the road. The dogs are barking. They want to go pee, right? And so you figure it out. You get a new tire on, or you get the old one fixed, or whatever. You figure it out. You fix it, and then you go home. But you still, you triggered a stress response, because life happens. Shit happens here and there. Or you forgot to make a payment and you're in minus in your account, and you're like, shit. Or, you don't have enough money this month, and you got to figure out how you're going to pay for the gas bill, or, right? Life stresses happen, and they can trigger a stress response where you'll have an uptick of symptoms. And that happens. So if you ever have if you ever have an uptick of symptoms, and you're like, oh man, I got the floaters again this week. Okay. And you're going through the journey. You're like, shit, there must be something going on this week. I feel some looping thoughts going on. I'm starting to get OCD thoughts again. I'm starting to get XYZ again, right? Oh, this old symptom is coming back up again. Oh, I'm starting to react to foods a little bit again, right? So old things go again. This is when you go, okay, what did I do this week? Did something happen yesterday or the day before? Oh, that's right. My truck wouldn't start. I needed to get a new battery. So that was a whole rigmarole, right? So then, okay. And, something like that, just be aware of it. It always comes from somewhere. Or you had an old symptom return and you freaked out a little bit, right? Okay. So because of that, you'll have an uptick of other symptoms and feelings and OCD thoughts and anxiety. Just be aware of it and go, because of that thing happened last week. Okay, that makes sense. We'll roll with it. This has happened to me. And then you'll notice that you'll have little upticks of stress responses because of life, and spikes, and setbacks, and the brain sending you alarms, right? And you'll get to know the reasons why, and you'll be indifferent to them. You just keep rolling forward.